Hey everybody, this is Mo here. How you doing today? I'm sitting here. I've been enjoying some more of this great book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, written by Dale Carnegie. Long time ago, but the book is still relevant. I mean, if you follow some of the things that are in this book, the way you deal with people, the way you handle business, the way you sell things, the way you just people relations will definitely will get better. You can improve the way you improve yourself as a person by following some of the things that are found in this book. I'm here to talk about part 3. And part 3, the whole title of that part is called How to Win People to Your Way of Thinking. And it's divided into 12 little chapters. And the first chapter talks about arguing with people. Okay, and in the book, Dale Carnegie instructs that we should not argue with people. It says that he says that most people don't care about your opinion; they really care about their opinion. And his advice to us as people is just to avoid arguments at all costs. They don't win, and you don't lose. If you win an argument, he says, you really lose it, because if you win it, and the person becomes disgusted with you, you might have won the argument, but you might have lost a friend. He says you can never get a person's goodwill by arguing with them. You can never get them. He talks about learn how to control your temper in that chapter. When you're like, you might be discussing something with someone. A lot of times our first inclination is to jump back at someone, to be offensive, and that can really come back to hurt us. He talks about one of the best strategies we can use is building bridges of understanding between two. So try to work for agreement. Always ask yourself this question: if you happen to be getting towards an argument, what will be the price I'll pay by winning this argument? So that was what chapter 1 of part 3 is about. Chapter 2, the title of chapter 2 is A Sure Way of Making Enemies. This is part 3, chapter 2. A sure way of making enemies. One way he talks about making enemies is by starting off a conversation or something with something wrong with the other person, or something wrong about what they're talking about. If you have to prove things while you're discussing things with people, you should be subtle in doing that. Be very subtle. You don't have to be dominant. Some of the phrases that he talks about that can go a long way. When you say something, let's say you were talking about bees, for example, and 3 people were debating about it. If you said something about a fact about bees, and then you ended it by saying, but I may be wrong, that kind of softens a little bit. Or you could always say, let's examine the facts for ourselves. He says that when people are told that they are wrong, they oftentimes resent it. He talks about Benjamin Franklin in the chapter, who lived long ago, one of the experts, in our country's history. He came to a point in his life where he decided that he would never contradict anyone. He would never argue or contradict. Basically, the chapter is about using tact. Ask questions instead of giving demands or telling people what's right or wrong. Ask questions that help to get to agreement. Be diplomatic. Try not to get the people stirred up. Chapter 3 of part 3 is If You're Wrong. The title is If You're Wrong, Admit It. Don't be afraid to admit that something you did or said was wrong. This will actually gain you more respect with people if they see that you're willing to admit that you're wrong. If the other guy's right and you're wrong, admit it. There's nothing wrong with that. Admit it quickly. Chapter 4 of part 3. A Drop of Honey. That's the name of the chapter. It says, disagreeable people may be led. People who are disagreeable with you can be sometimes changed or led to agree with you if you are gentle with them. So that's what they're talking about, the drop of honey. Be gentle. Be friendly. Friendliness begets friendliness is a quote that's in the chapter. Another quote that's in the chapter says, the sun can make a person remove their coat before the wind can. So be warming, be soft. Use a drop of honey instead of a gallon of gall, is what it talks about. Chapter 5, The Secret of Socrates. This is part 3, chapter 5, The Secret of Socrates. Start by emphasizing the points that you agree on. Keep your opponent from saying no. So you want to have questions in which your opponent will say yes over and over again. The yes response gets things moving in the right direction. It gets the snowball rolling in the direction you want it to. It's an affirmative direction. There's a Chinese proverb listed in the chapter. It says, "He who treads softly goes far." Chapter 6 of part 3. This chapter is called The Safety Valve in Handling Complaints. I have 2 points. It says, get the other person talking and let other people reminisce. Get the other person talking. Get them talking. Chapter 7, How to Get Cooperation. Make suggestions, not demands. Most people like to be consulted and not directed. Let people feel that the idea is theirs. This will often help you win their way of thinking if you let them think the idea is theirs. Chapter 8, it says a formula that will always work. Never condemn anyone, but seek to understand. Try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. Let people save face. Even if you see that they're wrong, you're in a conversation with 5 or 6 different people and one of the people is dead wrong. Let them save face. You don't have to tell them right there. And like this, once you embarrass them and they dig in, it's all over. You're not going to run them anyways. The main point of the chapter was see the other person's point of view. Chapter 9, What Everyone Wants. That's what it's called, What Everyone Wants. It says every human wants a little sympathy. Humans crave sympathy. Chapter 10, An Appeal That Everybody Likes. Appeal to people's nobler motives. So if you know that someone is doing something and it might be against what they normally stand for, you want to appeal to the motives and to what they normally stand for, and maybe this will help them see that what they're doing is not quite right. Chapter 11, the title of the chapter is The Movies Do It. Use drama. Make the truth bigger than it really is. This is called showmanship. Use showmanship. And chapter 12, Try This. It talks about stimulate competition. If you want things to start going better with a group of people, stimulate competition. Make it a challenge. This usually gets people motivated. So once again, this was part 3, chapters 1 through 12 of How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Hope you enjoy. Keep reading this great book.